Hello and good day, eh? Welcome to the Super Good Camping Podcast. My name is Pamela.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Thomas.
And we are from supergoodcamping.com. We're here because we're on a mission to inspire other families to enjoy camping adventures such as we have with our kids. Today we're going to turn it over to Thomas and Tim. We're going to talk a bit about buying a new canoe and about a paddling course that they took recently. Take it away.
So we're joined today by Thomas. He's going to tell you a little bit about a trip he took to go buy me a solo canoe because I've had so much trouble trying to schedule a tandem trip. And here he is.
So 2 weeks ago, my dad wanted a solo canoe because schedules don't always line up. Unfortunately, for us to be able to do our tandem trips, we found out that Swift was having a really big sale on their rentals, their demo canoes, that sort of thing. So I was sent off to make the trip up to Georgian Bay to pick up one of these canoes. So I grabbed a buddy, threw a whole bunch of camping gear in the back of my truck, and we went up to Aurelia, camped the night there on somebody's property who was renting it out for campers, and it was actually a really great experience. There was firewood provided for us. We sat around, had a fire, watched the stars, which you don't often get to see in the city. Woke up the next morning bright and early, cruised on over to Swift, stood in line for 2.5 hours with about 60 other people.
Sat in line would be fair.
Yes, we did take chairs. And then I made the quickest purchase in my life. I walked in, I don't even think it took me a full 5 minutes to find the canoe that we wanted, grab the tag off of it, head over to the checkout, get my name on it. Then we grabbed it, threw it on top of the truck, strapped it down, stopped by my grandparents' cottage for a few minutes, just to say hi, take a quick dip in the lake, and then we headed on home. The canoe was super light, super easy to throw on top of the truck. I think it weighs a little under 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And it was... I was really careful about strapping it down because carbon Kevlar, you don't want to snap that. That's expensive. But it was a good experience. I enjoyed going to pick up the canoe, and I'm sure that you will enjoy using it.
I'm sure I will. So yeah, I mean, I knew, so picked up a 14-foot Keewaydin, I believe is how you'd say it. Yep. Single seat, it's a solo canoe. It was a rental. It's got a few scratches, but
it looks
tiny.
Brand new.
It does. Yeah. It needs a yoke. So I've just sent the specs to Swift to get a yoke, not a carbon Kevlar one because that's $700. So I'm getting a cherry yoke because that's $200. And then I've got to look for it because it's got a seat in the bottom as opposed to like a web seat, that you
would
sit on. Yeah, exactly.
You sort of sit in this canoe.
It's more kayak style, so I'm going to have to find myself a double blade kayak paddle, and I'm looking forward to giving her a shot. Should be interesting. So we have 2 canoes hanging in the garage now, and that's all cool. Thanks, Thomas. You're the best.
Try.
There you go. And we'd also like to mention, Thomas and I did a course, was that last weekend?
Yes.
Jeez. See, it already seems a while ago.
Yeah.
So down here in Toronto, Harbourfront Canoe and Kayak was the name of the business. Pamela bought me, I think for Christmas, she bought me a gift certificate towards whatever. So I looked through the courses, and this would give us some more. Neither of us have proper training. We just
figure it out,
threw it in the water and start paddling, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to be my J stroke in particular. Wasn't particularly confident about. I mean, it works, but I don't think I'm doing it as well as I should. And I wanted to get that better. And any other strokes that somebody who does that could teach us, I thought would be great. It's also preliminary to hopefully next year I'd like to maybe get a level 1 certification to teach or again to become a better paddler. I don't log the hours that a lot of the other enthusiasts do. So Thomas and I went down and took this course. It was an all-day course throughout the Toronto Islands, and I'll let Thomas tell you about it.
So we started off obviously at the Harbourfront, hopped onto, so group split into 2. How many people were there?
8 of us, I think.
8 of us. Yeah, that sounds right. Split into 2, each group of 4 hopped on a pontoon boat. They cruised across the lake over to the Toronto Islands where they keep their canoes.
Which is way better than paddling, because that
Oh, yeah.
that was insane down there. We on the way back, we literally saw a ferry miss a sailboat, or rather a sailboat miss the ferry, because the ferries run their path and you just don't go in there. It couldn't have been 10 feet. They could have gone so badly. And they're just insane. There was an inflatable thing out there.
Yeah.
Somebody was paddling it around, and you could barely see it, like, in the chop and stuff. Just people, just wackos. Just nobody using their brain. Darwinism at its finest. Anyhow.
So they store all their canoes over on the Toronto Islands. We got there, pulled the canoes out. I think they were carbon Kevlar.
Yep.
Yeah, tandem canoes. What, 16s?
I think there were 16s. They felt
Yeah.
a little bit smaller than ours.
Threw them on the water. Got in. Just sort of started out with the instructor watching how we already paddle.
Shout out to Michael. He was awesome.
Yeah,
that was our instructor. He was great.
He was great. He would throw out some pointers here and there. He'd chat about whatever. It was good fun to have. And then he started showing us different paddles, different strokes. Here's how to do this one. Here's how to do that one. He taught us sculling,
Pry, draw.
and draw.
That J stroke, he called it something else because he thinks it's a misnomer, which it is. It's totally fair.
Right, the Canadian.
The Canadian. Okay, cool. Yep.
Because in the UK, canoes are referred to as Canadian canoes, and they call kayaks canoes.
Yeah, because they're wax.
Uh-huh.
Whatever.
We stopped for lunch on the island. And that was nice. We got to sit under a tree.
We saw
Oh, yeah.
lots of wildlife too. We saw
Turtles.
heron, egret, turtles, two other birds that I don't know but are sort of egret style. Cormorants, lots of dead trees from cormorants.
Mm-hmm.
And here's today's factoid. So the trees where cormorants, in and around where they nest, they die because the cormorants are really good fishers, and their poop is so acidic that it literally burns the tree. So there you go. That's why there's dead trees.
Anywhere the cormorants are.
Yeah, and lots of poop.
Yeah, we got lots of paddling in. We learned a better way to tandem carry a canoe, because previously we had just thrown it straight over top of both of us, and then neither of us can really see much in the way of straightforward. But now we've figured out that we can sort of throw it over one shoulder. The person throws it over the opposite shoulder to sort of balance it out. And that way you get a good view forward and to one side, and the other person gets a good view forward and the other side.
Because we have walked full tilt into a tree before.
Yep, and that did not go well.
No.
It was...
A little bit of braining going on there.
Yep.
Yeah, we did. Oh, what was the rescues?
Oh, right. We learned how to fall out of a canoe. Learned how to get back in. Learned how to help other people get back in.
Yeah, flip their canoes over, empty out the water, let them get into their canoe once it's been righted, etc. And then what was the last one we did?
Oh, right. We figured out how to get somebody into their canoe while it was on our canoe, slide it off our canoe into the water.
Right, so they actually climbed into our canoe, then we pulled their canoe up on top, then they climbed into that canoe, and then we gave them a shove, and away they went. It was pretty neat. Interesting discussion with Michael about rescues, and I asked specifically because what we're talking about here is two canoes with two paddlers in each, although it's possible one of those canoes could have one paddler. It would be, so I keep thinking about what Thomas and I do. We do just the two of us, and we're not out with anybody else, and we often don't run into anybody for days. Or now that I'm looking at potentially doing solo backcountry trips, what do you do for a rescue for that? And Michael said, you know what, if you're 100 yards from shore, you swim to shore. If you're 300 yards from shore, maybe you're in trouble. Maybe you shouldn't have gotten in over your head. And you know what, that's pretty valid point. It's really important to, stuff happens, but it's really important to try to stay aware of the conditions around you and try to paddle within your ability. Don't go that far out. Where Thomas and I are just about to set out on a French River trip. And I think the river part will be just fine. We'll avoid rapids and stuff because I don't think my game's that good. I've literally never done them. We'll see what we spot. We'll scout some stuff out, but there is going to be a portion of the trip that will be somewhat dodgy. And we're going to have to do it early in the morning to avoid the winds, but we have to sort of scoot across the shoreline, hopefully, of Georgian Bay. Georgian Bay is remarkably unpredictable, and big winds and big waves can come up very quickly and be big. So that we are going to paddle. I don't care if it adds 5 kilometers to our trip. We are going to paddle the shoreline the whole way. So that should something happen, we capsize, what have you, we're close. We can get in. Everything will be in waterproof bags so that we don't lose it, and like that. So there you go. I had hoped to learn how to rescue ourselves. We learned how to rescue other people, and we learned that we're reminded that we need to be
mindful
smart
of what's going on.
Yep.
If we are not paddling with another group.
Heads up, man. Heads up.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
That's it for us for today. We hope you enjoyed this episode on buying a new canoe and a paddling course. And please do join us for future episodes coming up every 2 weeks. Please do reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and email us at hi@supergoodcamping.com. That's hi@supergoodcamping.com. And we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.